United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call this County Commissioners meeting to order on Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. Chair would make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion is all in favor.
Aye.
Through G.
Second. You want to give an explanation of G?
Okay. Motion carries to pull that off.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor.
Aye.
Okay. All right. And if we can answer speak to us though. And good morning.
Morning. My name is
Allison Anthony, also. Hear what we are saying. If there's any question in your mind, we are saying a great resounding no. Are you going to behave like you rule over us? Commissioner Villard, Commissioner Boyer, Commissioner Broom, and Mr. Maniotis? Or are you going to stand beside the people of Moffett County? Because you are one of us. Doing things in secrecy and being non-transparent and lying about it, that's never going to be the right answer. We expect and we deserve much better from all of you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, it is. Good morning.
Appreciate you.
Anyone else?
Commissioners, I'm getting texts saying it's not working on the internet. I can fix.
We're
They're
getting
saying the audio's not working.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it.
Okay.
Now.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? It'll be recorded. It won't be on the internet, but they can upload the Zoom recording to that. So it'll still be in the record. It'll still be something that can be shared. Yep. Morning.
Hi. I'm Amy Smith. I would just caution you as a water back into utilities. Community plan. And then data centers.
Anyone else? Last. Okay. We'll move on.
You got anything to say?
Okay.
Then I can. Oh. Um,
Bureau for Energy Infrastructure that's left in the wake of those closures. That has value. That has value to us, that has value to the workers here, and that has value to developers. It's our job to be open to hearing from developers as they investigate our area and allow them to do their due diligence as we do ours. We have a process in place that requires companies to apply to our planning and zoning, and those applications are processed thoroughly by the planning board before making recommendations to the BOCC. There's a public process involved here as well. Once that application gets to us to take action, there's another opportunity for public input. That's the time to address the reality of a project, not the speculation of a pitch phase that may or may not even come to fruition in our county. It may not come to a formal application in front of the Board of Commissioners. If we share every flashy slide deck or big idea discussed, we'd become the commission that cried wolf, when many of them don't amount to much more than empty pitches. We aren't naive to what's happening around us and what's happening in the country and what's happening in Cheyenne and what's happening in Paducah, Kentucky right now. The very fear that's been stirred is what we're actively addressing by being proactive in our planning process. We're not waiting for an application to be delivered before we decide what our requirements to fill will be. That's what we're doing. That's what we ask of those companies coming in. We're expected to make educated decisions every day for this county, and unless one of my fellow commissioners can share the secret to wake up one day with all of the answers, I think we all can agree that we're going to continue to seek more knowledge. We're going to seek information about the issues at hand. We're going to continue to be the front line fielding inquiries into our area and continue to require formal planning application processes before we jump to the decision-making phase. Everything before that is speculation, and it's premature on our part to release something that hasn't even come to us in a planning process. And that's what I will start with. I may have something to add as you share as well.
Madam Chair, I would say if we could, we got a public hearing in 3 minutes, and what I feel needs to be spoken about is going to take more than 3 minutes or 2 minutes now.
That's now.
And so I wonder if we can just recess for 2 minutes, let the public hearing happen, and then actually have a conversation. That's my plan.
I'm good. We'll be in recess until 8:45. All right. A page and a half. Great. 2024 reading. Once the public hearing has been declared, I will ask the county attorney, Max Salazar, to present the ordinance. Once the information is presented, the commissioners may ask questions or make comments. I will then ask the audience if there's anyone who wants to testify either for or against. Any citizen of Moffat County may testify once the public hearing has been declared and all information has been presented. For those who want to testify, you'll be asked to approach the commissioners, state your name for the record, and will be given 3 minutes to present your testimony either for or against. Erin Miller will be the speaker today. She will notify the board when the speaker, or when 20 seconds remain before your time is up. No decisions will be made during the public hearing. This is an opportunity for any of you to provide testimony in favor of or in opposition of the proposed ordinance. Commissioners have the option of asking questions or answering questions related to the topic during the hearing process. Once all testimony has been heard, the public hearing will be declared closed and we will go back into regular session. I'll then refer to the board for discussion and decision on adoption of said ordinance. Max?
Good morning, Commissioners. Max Salazar, County Attorney for Moffat County. Before you is ordinance number 2026-0714, adopting updates or revisions to the model traffic code. Before I get too much into this, I guess just to kind of give a brief background of what this is exactly. So in Colorado, as far as traffic laws are concerned, you have the statutes that define, everything from speeding to running a stop sign to driving while ability impaired. And that exists in statute. And if you get stopped by either a state patrol or a city police officer or a sheriff, they can charge you under that statute that exists for the entire state. Or what we're doing here is within Moffat County, we have a separate ordinance that basically mirrors everything that's in the statute. So when a sheriff deputy stops you for, let's say, speeding out, on country roads or something like that, they've then got that choice to charge you under the statute or under this ordinance. Now, the reason we have this ordinance in place is that the fines and fees that come about from if somebody pleads guilty to one of these charges, those fines and fees would go directly to the county as opposed to going throughout the state. So by adopting this benefits Moffat County in that those fines and fees can come directly back to Moffat County. This ordinance regarding the model traffic code has been in place in Moffat County probably more than really we can even remember. The one that is currently in place is the 2020 model traffic code. And so then what this ordinance does is it updates that 2020 version of the code to the 2024 version. The actual updates to the code are pretty mundane. There's not a whole lot of really kind of differences between everything. As I sort of spoke to in the first reading, one of the new provisions in this is that it concerns low-speed electric vehicles. So that would be any low-speed electric vehicle that is traveling more than 25 miles per hour, but less than 45 miles per hour, and are subject to roadway restrictions. I think in the previous versions that wasn't defined at all, and so this kind of adds that. As we know, electric or the low-speed electric vehicles are a thing that we deal with nowadays that kind of wasn't an issue in the past. There's other changes that happen in the statute that now need to be reflected in this ordinance concerning things like vulnerable road users, various equipment requirements, and then I think there's updates to traffic infractions and penalties. So the entire code is this big binder here. And instead of the ordinance itself publishing this entire thing, what we've done here is adopted this by reference. Okay, so the ordinance itself is only 2 pages, but it refers back to this. The process that we've gone through to get here today has been really twofold. We've published notices in the local paper on July 22nd and July 29th of today's hearing. We had a first introduction of the ordinance, I think it was
July 14th.
July 14th. And then, so now this is the final reading of this. And so after today's hearing, if you commissioners vote to adopt this ordinance, it'll still be another 30 days before it actually goes into effect. I will have to do another publication of the ordinance, and then additionally, I will have to contact the Department of Transportation, I believe, and get their blessing before this actually goes into effect. And so, let's see if there's anything else that needs to be covered. And so again, I'm asking that you vote to adopt this ordinance. What this is really kind of housekeeping for the most part.
Are there any questions of the commissioners? Okay. I'll now open it for public comment. If anybody would like to testify either for or against the proposed adoption, second reading, ordinance number 2026-0714. Is there anyone who would like to comment either for or against? Okay. No public comment. I will declare this hearing closed and refer back to my fellow commissioners.
Chair, I would make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-0714, adopting the 2024 edition of the Model Traffic Code, second reading and adoption.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right. Before we go back to your comments, can we move through staff reports with Road and Bridge and let Bruce get back to work?
I think Bruce should sit here and go through it. Yeah.
I got it back.
Just trying to get you back to work faster.
Okay,
Morning.
our 2026 striping project, Moffett County Road and Bridge Department solicited bids for the 2026 pavement striping project. Bid specifications included approximately 30 miles of asphalt striping and pavement marking, with the potential for additional mileage based on the available funding and unit pricing. The following bids were received. Stripe-A-Lot Inc. from Montrose, Colorado was $70,801.90. Road Safe Traffic Systems from Ogden, Utah, $78,064. After reviewing the submitted bids, Stripe-A-Lot Inc. of Montrose, Colorado was determined to be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Moffett County Road and Bridge Department recommends awarding the 2026 pavement striping project contract to Stripe-A-Lot Inc. in the amount of $70,801.90.
Were you able to get a lot of the striping done last time on the required parts? I know we had to cut some out.
Yeah, and you know, the hazmat routes get it every year. They have to have it every year. And we're just getting caught back up again to where it was getting pretty expensive for a little bit, and now it's getting caught back up to where we're just 30 miles, or yeah, instead of 50. So
Perfect.
it's getting a handle back on it.
Thank you. Any other questions for Bruce?
No, we only had one bid last time, right? When it was
Right.
a lot. So
Right.
this is, we finally got a little competition here, but they wasn't close enough.
Yep.
You ready?
I am.
Chair, I make a motion to go with the recommended bid with stripe a lot, amount of $70,801.90.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. And now we'll go back to your general discussion.
We to go first?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I wrote some things down because I feel like it was important, and sometimes when you don't write things down, you ramble, and I don't want to ramble, and I don't want to waste your time, but at the same time, I want to cover some specific points, I think. Obviously, I know that there have been lots of conversation and concerns over the last few days. I also understand that regardless, to some degree of what I say, there's a possibility that my words get turned. So I understand that. What I do for a living, I understand words mean everything. Okay. I mean, I speak for a living. I preach for a living. I know how you say things and what you say mean, how you can make it change how the meaning is. But with that in mind, I want to speak directly to the citizens of Moffett County today. For nearly 20 years, I've had the privilege of serving on, no, let me back that up. It's been about 19 years and 1 month. I'm not exaggerating when I say 20 years, just so nobody changes what I have to say. Go back and look. But for nearly 20 years, I have had the privilege of sitting on boards in community. Before I was ever elected official, I sat on boards that nobody wanted to sit on, boards like the child protection team, and boards that nobody wanted to view the child abuse cases in Moffett County every day, right? And we did that weekly. We had the power to tell the cops to go and reinvestigate, or tell DHS to go back and reinvestigate. It was heart-wrenching, but I did that because I wanted Craig to be better. I read the comments, I see things that, oh, you know, we don't care. Listen, my family homesteaded here in 1904. I raised my kids here. Why in the world would I try to ruin Craig? I mean, that just doesn't make any sense, along with my other commissioners. So I say this publicly and honestly, that I personally have nothing to hide. I'm willing to have these conversations. If you have questions after this meeting, I'm more than willing to sit here and talk to you after this meeting. If you want to do it longer, I'm more than willing to sit with you afterwards and talk to you about anything that you possibly want to. This last weekend, I sat at the fair and talked to many, many people, probably a dozen people on the phone and 50 people at the fair, just asking questions, answering questions. Now, there have been accusations that I or elected officials have been backdoor meetings and with companies making decisions behind closed doors. And I could speak to you very clearly from myself, right? And just stay with me through all this so that you don't think that I'm saying anything that's different. But regarding the two companies that you're talking about, I've never sent an email to them. I've never sat into a meeting with them, right? Or any other correspondence with them. The reason that is important to understand is this: when a company expresses interest in Moffett County, the process generally begins with the initial conversation with one commissioner and a staff member. Companies often want to learn about our community, our resources, our infrastructure, our regulations, and whether a project might be even feasible. If that interest progresses to that point, the Board of County Commissioners need to seriously consider a proposal, or even something that's going to take it to the next level. then the process moves to appropriate public settings where anytime three commissioners sit into a meeting, it is public knowledge. And so we would all have to sit there. This is why only one commissioner goes to some of these things. The reality of that is most initial conversations never get there. Companies look at communities all across the country. They make phone calls, they ask questions, they look at property, they investigate infrastructure, they kick tires, and many of them move on. Over the years, I have personally, which I'm going to name them, personally have met with numerous companies that have expressed some level of interest in Moffett County. Okay. In many of those cases, we had one conversation and they moved on. That is not unusual as part of the process of economic development. I hate NDAs. I've never signed an NDA. I won't probably sign an NDA because that's economic development's little hide behind. I can't tell you the company that's coming. I don't like that. I think you should be transparent. You want to come, you come. Okay. But to put this into perspective, let me tell you, Jeff and I talked to a place called Pumped Hydro Project 6 years ago. We've seen them on the internet. We've seen that they named Moffett County. Jeff and I initially had that conversation with them multiple times. Finally, when they decided, yes, we want to look at Moffett County, we brought the commissioners into that conversation. They proposed a $2 billion project, pumped hydro project for Moffett County. Then it went public. But until they did that, we had really no idea if it was really going to go because they had 11 projects and they were picking 5. We didn't know if we would make that. We did that. Now it's in the FERC process. You're going to come to fruition? We don't know. Holtec Nuclear came. We did have a public meeting on those things. We heard the community, right? We've not heard back from those, or I have not heard back from those. Multiple large-scale solar projects. The reason that you drive to Meeker and want to punch your steering wheel every single time that you drive there was because there was not policies and procedures. And so the commissioners decided that they would trust CPW. If CPW signs off on it, we're good to go. They signed off on it. Now you drive to Meeker and want to punch your steering wheel because you can't stand what it looks like. This process and procedures are some of those things that we want to make sure we don't get caught like that. Axle Basin Solar Project. Gravity Rail. Here's one. Gravity Rail met with Jeff, I believe, and maybe another person. I don't know who was all in that meeting. Involving the using of car rails and the slopes of Trapper to generate electricity. They start at the top, they weigh it down, they slide down these rails, they stop, it creates electricity, they put it into a battery. Okay? A one-time conversation, never heard back from them. Direct air capture technology designed to remove CO2 from sucking fans sucking air out of the atmosphere and going and capturing CO2 from the atmosphere. Mustang Ridge Resort and Housing Development near Bell Tower and Pine Ridge. Met with us one time. Never heard back from them. Orsted Wind and Solar Interests, which are still leasing property, but we've never seen. We can't stop a landowner from signing something, but they've never even went through our process. But they are supposedly the largest wind tower project in the nation. We've not seen anything. We've talked to them. They've got leases, but we've never seen anything on them. Thesis Mining and Dozer met with me, and Rebuilding Dozers met with me and Jeff. They were leasing out one of the bays at Trapper, and they were wanting to maybe buy the garage or the shop there so that they could bring in D11 and D12 dozers to rebuild them. That was their whole idea. We met with them one time, never heard back from them, don't know where they're at. Oil and gas developments, including hundreds of mineral leases, hundreds, okay? 95% never get developed, but hundreds of oil and gas leases. I don't know how we would go through every single one of these things to say, hey, these guys are coming or they're not. I have a company that calls that says, hey, we want to buy Sunset Meadows, right? That's not the commissioner. We have a board there, but we say, no, we're not interested at the time. But these companies call all the time. So that is just to name a few. The fact that a company talks to someone in Moffett County does not mean Moffett County has approved the project. It does not mean Moffett County commissioners made decisions. It does not mean a project is coming. Sometimes it simply means someone is looking. Now, my understanding of the process has always been, until a company reaches that point to sit down with commissioners as a whole. It is just that looking. Looking is not buying, interest is not approval, and conversation is not decision. Now, I understand why people want transparency, and I want to be transparent. And I understand why people want to know what is happening in their community and believe they deserve honest answers. Allison, I've sat with you many, many times in meetings, right? Whether you like the answer or not, I've sat there many, many times and heard what you had to say. I also believe we need to be careful not to turn initial conversations with a potential company into something that it's not. And so there's a balance between allowing companies to explore opportunities in our community and making sure public is. Now, I do believe 100% that this situation could have been handled differently. Okay, I'm not going to say that, but I do believe no one did anything maliciously or with malintent. Okay, I do believe that. I have fallen short in communication with that distinction many times. Okay, have not been clear enough, and I would apologize in the drop of a hat that if we were not clear or I was not clear on something, I have no problem saying, hey, that was my fault, my bad. I should have been clearer. We have a lot on our plates, and sometimes we don't articulate our words correctly. I love this community. I've spent nearly 2 decades serving it in one capacity or another. And I've always tried to do what I believe is best for Craig and Moffett County. And it hasn't always been what everybody agrees. So we will continue to listen, just like we did today. We will continue to answer questions. I will continue to have difficult conversations when necessary. And most importantly, I will continue to serve the community with honesty, integrity, and desire to see Moffett County thrive. And so as I close this, I would just say that sometimes, and you could, it is hard to have a conversation when it's one-sided. And sometimes it's hard when emotions are high. Sometimes the responses are not how they're supposed to be on both sides when things are not right. Educated, calm conversations is how you get to answers. Anger and emotions and internet articles and all the things that we're doing is not the way to do it, right? And so I'm open to have any conversation with anyone that would have it. And so I do apologize. I do agree that we should have handled some things a little differently, right? I've already stated to the commissioners, we take everything like we did, but we didn't approve that. Take things off the consent agenda, put it onto the regular agenda. Why? Because let's not try to hide anything, right? It was hindsight. We did something, we didn't think about it, and we apologize for that. So that's all I have to say for now.
That's it? I should have went before you. Scratching stuff off and just doodling around over here.
So that's what happened to stay up till 3 in the morning, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out what to say.
Yeah. Well, I just want the public to know that I know I'm an elected official, that I know I was elected by the people, and I take that very serious. You know, before I even start thinking about running, you know, I said, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta put the time into it and be serious about it and know that I am here to represent the people. And this is my second term. I'll be done in January, and I wish I had another term or 3 or 4 more. And to start off here, I just want to let everyone know that myself, have never attended a data center meeting or had any conversation with anyone about a data center. And, you know, to get back to being elected and we're here for the people, you know, here not too long ago, we had a solar company that was coming in. They was coming in on a county road, 30. And I believe that I listened to the people when they came in. There was a big group of people that come in that was against it, which I'm the kind of guy that I don't want to tell anybody what to do with their property. But in this situation, I looked at it and said, you know, if I lived on County Road 30 and had 2 years of construction on my county road, would I want that? And that was one of my decisions that I made to deny that. And I do believe when you're here sitting in the seat up here, you're here for your term, but I think you need to set it up so when the next set of commissioners come in, that they already have a roadmap to what's kind of been said, and you hope they follow that. Because back to what Tony had said, and I believe it was the first year that I was in, it was a solar deal out there on Highway 13. And, you know, and I don't think the county then had a lot of regulations and different things. And that deal to me just kind of slipped in, and there it is. And it's an eyesore. So out of this, I would hope, and I think this was all our intentions to do in the first place. And of course, that was the first meeting. And then we was gonna roll a few more meetings with this, about this data center, to know the good and the bad and the ugly, or however you want to say it. So that everybody understood. And then I believe that we was gonna have a group come together, those who were for or against later on, as a committee, I guess you would call it, and then kind of battle this deal out to see if it was worth coming, you know, because there's just so much stuff in the news about these data centers, which granted, I'm not for or against because I don't understand it all. And that's what I wanted to do, is just understand it also. But for the citizens of Moffett County, I believe this set of commissioners is here to do a job and to do the job right and to listen to you. That's all I have to say.
Because you didn't take that long, let me say one more thing. Take time. And I think this is where the commissioner, and this may be for our conversation because we have to have it publicly. I'm not opposed because I'm not for or against, just like Commissioner Broom said. Like, put a moratorium on, right? I told Max that, let's start, put a moratorium on it till we have all the facts and details and all those things, and we have community buy-in and all those things. One meeting to me is not all community buy-in. I think it's a good start, but I think we need to have multiple meetings. City and county are about to have a meeting, a combined meeting. And so I think I'm not opposed to that. I don't have nothing to hide with it. It's not like we're trying to push something through. So I have zero problem with putting a moratorium on it for 2, 5 years, whatever it is, to get our ducks in a row, to get all the information, and then we can make an educated decision. I have no issue with that whatsoever, from my point of view.
Yeah, well, that was kind of my point. With just the first meeting, that wasn't going to be the first one in the last meeting, you know. And just like you said, to put a moratorium on it, you know, that might be the thing to do. But then, you know, you can look at it and says, well, if we going through this process that we going through, why do we need a moratorium? But I think for me, I think the citizens or the people of Craig would feel better if there was something like that. So.
Gives breathing room to make decisions and get educated.
Decisions to get educated, but then you would stop and turn and look and say, well, we're not going to give any application. We're not going to do nothing until we get through this. But right. I guess if you put a moratorium on it, that might be the way to go. Yeah.
Kate, what you said, the difference in what you've said and what happened was, it was a direct question. The people were asking, have there been talks? Have there been somebody approaching? And nothing was transparent. That's the problem. I hope you.
I just have something to add off of what Tony had said. When you talked about like having a one-sided conversation, and I've sat with you and had conversations, and Michael with you as well. When we're able to have a conversation that's not pitchforks and torches with a headline, I think we accomplish a lot more. And I think that I've tried really hard since being in this position to not conduct public business on a social media platform. And I know that that's very frustrating for people, that there are comments back and forth, and why didn't you, and how come, and we just read this, and a lot of times the next comment is based on a headline in the last comment, not actually even reading the article. And I think that for us, it's very frustrating not to be able to combat that, but at the same time, this is where we do business. This is where we are welcoming to open conversation, to having a meeting with us, to walking into our office and sitting down and having a conversation with us. And so I do want to address, for myself at least, why I'm not jumping on social media. It seems like we're not giving the opportunity to answer for ourselves, but it's also not the forum that I choose to do business for the county in. I think I'll leave it at that. I also will thank you for reminding me that we did pull item G off of the consent agenda to discuss. And we are not finished with our business until we have addressed that. So
Yeah.
okay. And I'm with Tony. I'll stay after and have any conversation anyone wants to have. We'll schedule a meeting, we'll schedule a workshop. I just will not be answering questions in a social media forum. All right, so item G was ratifying a letter of support for the Yampa Basin Atmosphere and Soil Moisture Integrated Network. This has to do with water measurements, water meter readings on the Yampa. Yeah, Jeff, you're more than welcome to join on the Yampa River, and some of the questions that were posed to us and our requests in supporting that project. You're on.
Sure, happy to discuss that. I did put it on the consent agenda, but there's no need to keep it there. We received a request to support a grant for soil moisture stations, and I ran this project past some of our land use board members who are particularly sensitive to water issues. And their only comment was that they didn't mind the commissioners supporting this grant, especially since it's in some of our own watersheds. But there was a fear of data being misused and being used for anti-agriculture purposes when it was actually intended for just scientific use and extrapolating data. So we put a caveat into that letter that said, we're supporting you as long as you're honest with the data. But at the moment we start seeing it politicized, we're not supportive of that. So, and I guess just for the general public's knowledge, we are, as commissioners, as a county, we're asked to support grants all the time. And in this case, the River District requires elected officials support in their county in order to actually authorize the grant. So the organization came to you commissioners and asked for your support. I want you to know that I ran it past some of our water gurus before we drafted that letter. Actually, that was a significant modification of the draft proposed to us. Any questions?
Yeah. A lot of times our response is significant changes to the drafts that are proposed to us.
Almost every time. I cannot think of a letter that we ever receive as a draft that at least that comes through my office. I honestly can't think there's one letter we just actually sign as it comes to us.
Right. We also stipulated that our support is for placing those with our landowners, but with, communicating with them and making sure that it doesn't interfere with agriculture and hay production as well.
You bet. You bet. Look, data's good. Misuse of data is where it all goes bad.
Sure. So I would entertain a motion.
That would make a motion that we support the letter of support for the letter of support, Yampa Basin Atmosphere and Soil Moisture Integrated Network
Ratify.
to ratify that.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. And with that, we are adjourned.
No, just from people.
Oh, different stuff.
Yeah. No, and so, about the meat.
When they upload that to YouTube, can we just upload it what was